Hi everyone, today we are going to assemble the Green Forest twin bed frame. First, I'm going to unpack everything inside the box and lay out all my parts and pieces so I know that all the parts that are supposed to be in the box are there. As you can see, I'm just unloading everything because this bed frame does come with very small parts and they can be lost easily. In the packaging, we get a thank you note from the manufacturer, along with a 2-page instruction document that's double-sided. Be sure to check all your parts. If you're missing any parts, make sure you contact the manufacturer immediately so they can send you out any replacement parts that are needed. In a small white box with a red cord attached onto it, you may need some scissors to open this one. It's taped up pretty well. There's all of the nuts, the bolts, the washers, an Allen wrench key, and a hex wrench. The dog is not included, unfortunately. Sorry. Inside the parts box, all the nuts and bolts are organized in little baggies, and there are many different types of bolts. As you can see here, here's the hex Allen key along with the wrench. These are, I call hammer bolts because they look like little hammers. You use those 4 bolts to attach the headboard and footboard to the frame. Let's assemble the footboard. This requires 5 parts from the metal frame along with 4 bolts and 4 washers. First, go ahead and unpack all the plastic protective, and you'll need 2 of the skinny rods and 2 of the fat rods. Now you'll notice on the shorter fat rods there's 3 holes. 2 holes on one side and 1 hole 90 degrees perpendicular. The 1 hole 90 degrees perpendicular is for your hammer bolt. So go ahead and put the washer first, and this goes with the curved side towards the round frame. Go ahead and bolt it all together. Once you have all 4 sides together, ta-da! Now I keep mine a little bit loose until the entire frame is assembled. That way I can adjust it as needed. So now that we have the footboard assembled, let's go ahead and build the headboard. Now the headboard has 3 poles all in the same row and 1 pole 90 degrees off-centered. This is again for the hammer bolt that attaches the frame. Now the bolts go together just the same. You have 3 long bolts on one side, 3 long bolts on the other side. And then you use 3 of the curved washers on each side of the headboard to bolt the whole thing together. Once you have all of your bolts put together, go ahead and attach the long skinny tubes with the thicker tubes. As you can see, everything will fit together nicely. Again, when I'm putting this together, I make it a little bit loose just so I don't have too many issues later down the road, because you can always tighten it at the very end and you have a final tightness across the entire bed frame. Now, when you assemble the bed frame, it may be helpful to get an extra hand, because eventually you're going to need to hold 2 pieces together at the same time. This bed frame isn't very heavy by itself, but it can be hard to manage if you're only by yourself like I am. So now we're going to assemble the side pieces to the bed frame. This requires these T-shaped brackets, which is also a middle leg support for the bed itself. To put this together, you're going to use 1 of the T-shaped brackets along with 2 of the side rails that have rubber grommets in the frame, Now, one thing to remember with these metal pieces is they're labeled with 7A and 7B. Now, I must note 7A does not go with 7A, 7B does not go with 7B. They go 7A plus 7B. I made this mistake and I had to change in the middle of the bed frame the two beams because I put A's with A's and B's with B's. Now, to attach the T bracket to the middle of the bed frame, I decided to use the small bolts. That was not the right choice, as you will see. You have to use a long bolt because you have to go through the big square frame, through the T bracket to make everything work properly. Now, one thing to note when you're putting this together, there is two small tap pieces that need to be facing the center of the frame. If you don't have the tap pieces facing the center of the bed frame, then there's a center cross support that will not line up properly. As you can see, I'm reading the directions to make sure that I get the steps correctly. The instructions can be a little bit confusing, but the diagrams are good, and as long as you pay attention, you will have no issues. I wasn't paying 100% attention. That's why I did A to A and B to B. But in actuality, you want to do A to A and B to B. As you can see, I am now putting the A to A and the B to B. Now, when you put these two pieces together, there's a sticker on both sides. You want to put the stickers end to end so they are both on the same side. Just like this. So now what you'll do is lay these on the floor and you're going to put your cross piece in the middle. That lines up. The two long bolts go through the top and secure with the locking nut on the bottom. Use the provided Allen key and hex wrench to make all of this work. Again, these I'm not making super tight. I'm making them snug, but they're not loose. If you make them over too tight, you may have some issues down the road when you put all four pieces together. So we have the headboard to the left. We have the center rail with the dots facing towards the inside of the bed. And we have our hammer bolt. Now this is a two-part bolt. You take the threaded screw off, you slide the receiving nut through the outside of the frame, and it'll push all the way through. Now it is centered. You want to have it centered, otherwise your nut isn't going to line up. Once you have it centered, go ahead and tighten the nut and repeat on all four corners. Use your Allen key to snug the whole bed frame up, as it will make everything from wiggling around. Now, I made the mistake and I put the dots for the left side of the bed, which is off camera. I put the dots the wrong way, so I have to flip it around. Once you have everything put together, go ahead and get your center bracing together. Now this center brace is going to use the 4 short bolts that we put aside earlier. Just simply put the small bolts in, tighten them with the Allen key, and put the left side and the right side all together. Once you have this all together, go ahead and snug up all the bolts because you're almost done. After you have the center bracket in, go ahead and get your cross braces. Now these, you have 16 cross braces that are going to go from end to end, and they are spaced about 4 inches apart. So you don't need a box spring with this bed because they're close enough for the mattress. Now they do lock into place, and they can be very hard to get out unless you have a flat blade screwdriver. When you push them in, you'll hear an audible click. It's a very loud clang, and that ensures that it's locked in. Repeat this for all 16 pieces until you're done. And ta-da! You have a wonderful bed that will fit any twin size mattress without a box spring. I hope this video helped, and I hope you're able to assemble your bed. Thank you for watching.